Hey, it's Mateo Lopez of Two Brain Marketing. On this edition of the Two Brain Marketing Podcast, I'm talking with Sara Carter from CrossFit PortSide. You'll learn about her experience transitioning from being a collegiate level basketball coach to a CrossFit gym owner. You'll also learn how she built her advertising system and how month over month she spends $300 on ads and generates $3,000 in front-end sales. So you don't want to miss this. Make sure to subscribe to Two Brain Radio for more marketing tips and secrets each week. Hello and welcome to the Two Brain Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Mateo Lopez. I'm one of the digital marketing mentors at Two Brain Business. Thanks for tuning in. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing magic. And in today's episode, we have a very special guest, Sara Carter, owner of CrossFit PortSide. You'll learn about her experience and how month over month she spends around $300 on ads and generates $2,000 to $3,000 in front-end sales. So, Sara, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. For those tuning in who don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about your business.
Sure. Yeah. If you can't tell by my accent, I'm from the deep South in Gulfport, Mississippi. I am a collegiate basketball coach turned business owner. So when I decided to quit coaching college basketball, I moved home, opened a CrossFit gym, and have now been open about 6 years. When I did open, I had zero business, business sense, didn't really know what to do, where to go, just really ran things like a hobby and, tried my best to work with what I had. And it was all about, CrossFit. And then, decided to jump in with Two Brain. And since then, life has really completely changed for me. I've been able to hire full time, get myself out of coaching a lot of classes and more into that CEO role. So yeah, definitely one of the best decisions I've made.
Awesome. And so you're a collegiate basketball coach, and then what made you want to just make the switch? What was the catalyst for that? Like, I'm just gonna open a gym now.
Actually got involved at Louisiana Tech, where CrossFit Ruston actually is. So fell in love with it there. And I knew that when I was traveling to Vegas, we had a tournament in Vegas, and I called up a taxi, spent, $40 in a taxi ride, spent another 50 or so at the gym and $40 back. I knew I'd fallen for something new. And it just became my passion. And so I decided, well, I hate to say I'm tired of the 18 to 22-year-olds, but just the livelihood, dependent on winning basketball games, and decided to move home. And then my passion grew, and it changed from really just being like athletic and really seeing people do stuff like that to more health and fitness. So it was more important for me to see people, lose the weight they wanted to lose or do things that they've never done before. So that's where the passion really started changing for me.
Wow, that's awesome. And so when you first opened, so you've been open for 6 years, which is it's a pretty long time. That's a feat in and of itself. When you first opened, what was that like? Was it just you? Were you by yourself, or did you have any other coaches, or was it just you running the show?
Yeah, it was just me. I was all by myself. I mean, for almost 2 years, I ran every single class, did everything, had this free time during the middle of the day. I'd just hang out, go eat, work out. I was in incredible shape. But yeah, so then I, had ended up having to hire. And I got tired. So there was no process about how to hire. I just hired a couple of people that could really help me with mornings and some late nights. And really, I had no process as to how I would hire people, which has changed. We're in the process right now of even hiring 3 more people. So they're going through a much more extensive, workshop and internship, to say the least. But yeah, I mean, long hours by myself, just trying to get, people in the door. People in the door was all that I thought I needed to do, but that's not the case.
How did you get your first few clients? How did you get people in the door just starting out?
Word of mouth, really. When I moved home, I started working with a couple of ladies just kind of at their house before I even had a place. And then I really thought, because of my background and moving home, that people would just flock through my doors. And so I just, hey, I'm opening, and just kind of left it at that. And then people would come try it. And, I'd be here all day long just hoping that people would walk through the doors. So I didn't do any kind of, marketing other than just posting on social media and just trying to get other members to talk about it to their friends and family and stuff like that.
And on those magical days where someone did walk in through the door, what was the sales process like back then?
Oh, God. Hey, you want to try this? Great. And they'd try it for a class. And then if they liked it, we'd sign them up. I had no intro, no prep, no anything. I mean, it was sign up. Oh, you're a teacher, you're a nurse, you're this, you're that. Oh, yeah, we give discounts. It was kind of, I did everything. I don't want to say wrong, but I did everything a little bit backwards. And then, since then I've had to change how I've operated. But yeah, I mean, it was one of those, like I said, I don't know if the word's desperate, but it's more like how many people can just come through the door so that my gross revenue can go up, right? And that's how I thought. And then I had to shift my mindset later, 4 years down the road.
And okay, so 4 years into the business, is that when you discovered Two Brain, I guess?
Yeah, a year and a half ago to 2 years. So yeah, I mean, I listened to podcasts. I tried to do things that I heard from the podcast, read the books, tried to do things on my own, but it's just like coming to the gym, right? So that accountability was not there. Like I had some of the tools, or I was getting some of the information, but I didn't have somebody on me, really guiding me through the process. Probably about 4.5 years in is when I decided, okay, I'm taking the plunge. I'm going with Two Brain.
Nice. And what was that final, like, kind of like the last straw that broke the camel's back? Where you're like, all right, yeah, I'm doing this.
Yeah, so I actually had 8 total coaches. I believe it was 8. And we just, I was trying to make some shifts, trying to move in a different direction. I just didn't know where to go or what to do. I finally was like, you know what? I was actually with a different mentoring program, stopped doing that. And I was like, you know what? I should have done Two Brain, like I said, in the back of my mind, but I didn't at the time. So now's the time. So I did it. The money was there. I was able to, really start to put a business in place. Yeah, there were tough times because you had to make a lot of, hard decisions. But those hard decisions have led to, a much better business in the long run.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit about, because I know, well, I guess what was the first major change you saw once you started going through mentorship?
Really, one of the biggest things I think for me started to become a better leader. I started to, my vision of the business completely changed, which is obviously one of the first things you do, is really start to define your vision so that now the mentor could help me, move my business into the direction of where I wanted it to go. So really, I think just my leadership became better, and my overall drive to make it a business and get away from, I'm okay where I am, as opposed to, okay, how can I hire full time? How can I give people careers under me? And really see that evolve has been one of the biggest changes and awesome feelings.
That's great. That's awesome. And how was that process of, I mean, it sounds like you had some people who were on board with the changes and some that were not. So what was that process like of trying to, make sure you have the right people in the right seats on the bus?
Yeah, that probably was, and a lot of people go through it because I think you hire your friends, at the
Yep.
end of the
Yep.
day. And a lot of times they need to just stay your friends. So that was probably one of the biggest adjustments, is trying to figure out, okay, I've had these people that have been with me a long time, but do they have both feet in the boat, or are they wavering on the outside? And I had some that were wavering on the outside, and since then, some of them have gone. You have to have a team where everybody is in your boat or on your bus so that you can move the business in the right direction. One of the biggest things was delegating. So I started delegating tasks, and some of the tasks got delegated to the wrong people. And so, and that's fine. That just showed me, where people were, and where I needed to go next, and who I needed to look for in the hiring process. So it was tough, but, it showed the light on a lot of things for me. And again, changed me as a CEO or as a leader, so that now start looking maybe outside of, friends, people that are coming in to not just coach, but to help grow your business.
Yeah, I think that's totally true too. You're gonna, when you're at that spot where you just need someone to pick up some hours now, usually you're gonna turn to people closest in your vicinity. It's either longtime members who you've developed a friendship with, or it's gonna be, your friends from the outside, or people who found CrossFit with you. And that's tough when you have your friends in the business, especially when you need to make some tough decisions. It gets hard to be objective, I think, which I think is a lesson a lot of us have had to learn the hard way. So tell me, if you can, we're gonna shift gears a little bit about your paid advertising system. So tell me about how it sounds like you taught yourself a little bit how to market. What was that experience like?
I really became self-taught. It's one of the things that once I dive into it, I stick to it. So it's one thing that I just found a passion for. So I would research anything that I could about how to run ads, what's the best platform or method to run them. And so what I would do is, obviously it's pretty easy to boost a post. So I started with some stuff like that, and I would spend like $20. Like, that's it. Cut it off, right? And then got into a little bit more paid ads, probably wouldn't spend more than $5 a day, just to kind of and then I'd get, I don't know, 10 leads, and I'd shut it off. And it was like, yes, 10 leads. Um, so I kind of played that game a little bit, still kind of playing around with it, but didn't really understand what to do until like probably, I don't know, 6 months to a year ago, where I decided, okay, Two Brain Marketing, here we go, and then I dove in a lot further with you guys, and was able to understand a lot more. But yeah, I wasn't spending a whole lot of money at all on ads.
You still, and I think you're still seeing great results, because you're not, in the grand scheme of things, you spend $300, $500 a month. That's still not a whole lot, but it's great that you're able to, generate, $3,000 from that spend. Is pretty impressive. So what is your lead, nurture, and follow-up system? So someone opts in, what happens to them for you?
Yeah, they immediately get a text. We use UpLaunch. So they immediately get a text. If they don't respond, we message them again, and we really keep messaging them until they respond. I'm about to really dive into the calling, because that's one of the things that you guys really talk about, and you talked about a lot at the summit too. So changing that up a little bit more, because we are getting a lot of leads and they're booking appointments, but I want to get our show rate up better. So going to start the call. And then after 3 or 4 calls, if they don't respond, then we'll just put them in a long-term nurture. But for right now, our process is, we use UpLaunch a lot. If they respond the day before, they get a message that they have to confirm their appointment by saying yes. If they do, then we keep the appointment. If they don't respond, then we just go ahead and cancel it. And you'll get people that say yes and won't come, through the door. But once they do come through the door, then it's our time now to sell them on, a package that's right for them.
And so in your words, what is it that you sell and how do you sell it once they come in through that door?
This is one thing that's really changed for us. We sell a 90-day fitness transformation package. One is personal training. So it's a lot bigger of a package. It's almost $2,200 for the 3 months. And then we sell a 90-day transformation CrossFit. And both of those we have two of those. One's for 12 times a month, one's for unlimited. It's $312 a month or $325 per month. We also include nutrition as well. So they get customized nutrition with our nutrition coach, ongoing nutrition, biometrics, and they get 5 personal training sessions at the beginning if you're going into CrossFit. And then we give them we don't give them, we put it in the package, but 2 30-minute personal training sessions in month 2 so that there's still that extra accountability. If somebody picks the personal training package, it's nutrition as well, and 12 personal training sessions each month.
Adding those personal trainings and even the group option, have you found that's helped with your retention?
Oh yeah. We went from doing 6-week packages to changing it to the 90-day so that we're able to build that relationship and that rapport, and having the 5 sessions early on really gives them that one-on-one, as well as we'll go with them to their very first class. So then they've got their coach that's been with them in their first class. So there's a lot more comfortableness there, I guess. But yeah, I mean, we've seen much better retention than even with the 6 weeks, because the 6 weeks, it comes and goes pretty fast.
Right.
So yeah, 3 months, we found it to be a lot better retention on our end.
That's awesome. That's great. I want to go back to the sale a little bit. So you have these packages laid out, which is great. When they walk in through their door, what happens?
Yep, we just greet them, ask them, what can we do for them or how can we help them? And then they, get to chat, and we try to let them talk as much as possible. A lot of people, it's, I want to lose weight or I want to lose this. You get a little bit deeper, well, why do you want to lose the 20 pounds or why do you want to lose the 30? So you're constantly, trying to find the root of why they're in here. Once we do that, then we would develop a little bit of rapport, talk to them about nutrition, ask them, same thing with that. And then towards the end, we talk to them about whether they're more comfortable in one-on-one or a group setting. And that's the big question, because a lot of people kind of, like they came in for group, but really I want to do one-on-one. So that's when we're able to sell them that personal training package.
I think there's a few things in there that I think are really important. One, you said you let them talk as much as possible, which I think is really critical. I think people in sales, they'll struggle because they get, them as a sales rep, they'll get into feature selling and they'll try to talk about their coaches, their certifications that they all have, the fact that they've been around for a long time, their spaces, their different class offerings, like they have Spark and Bootcamp and CrossFit and Oli and all these things, and get into feature selling and trying to explain what CrossFit is, when instead I think what you just said is, let the prospect talk as much as possible. You want to, the more in depth you can get into in that discovery phase, I think the higher chance you're going to have of converting. And then the other thing you said, which I think is really, really important, is just getting to the why, right? The root cause of what got them to come in there that day. And understanding that why and teasing that out of them is going to be easier the more you let them talk. So I think that's huge. That's great. Tell me a little bit more about how you've been able to, because you're now doing some work with us on the Two Brain side of things. You've obviously unlocked some free time for yourself. For people who are looking to delegate, you talked about this a little bit before, but people looking to delegate but are still kind of stuck, they can't find the right people. What advice would you have for them?
You're always hiring, for one. I learned that the hard way, but now we're always hiring, so that, we're talking to more people and just trying to find that right fit. And I think what you have to do is, number one, you just have to let it go. Like you have to let some things go and let people show you that they can or cannot do it, because it's very hard to clone yourself. And you're always going to be the one that says, well, I'll just go do it because I know what to do and I will just get it done a lot faster. Well, if you continue to do that, you're never going to be able to step away. And I think that was the hard thing, because when you're in it and you're in the trenches by yourself, like you're just like, forget it, I'm just going to go do it. But you have to hand it over. You have to let people make mistakes. And guess what? Somebody also can probably do it better than you. So I think the biggest thing is just to always be hiring and be looking for people, and talking to people. And if you do that, then you're going to find people that are willing to be in the trenches with you, and who are willing to take on tasks and do a really good job at it.
I think that was really well said. I think something else too that was said to me early on in my career was like, it's okay to make mistakes because most things are reversible. Almost like anything you could do wrong, like if you're trying to teach someone how to do something in Zen Planner, if you're trying to teach someone how to, clean or fix the barbell, whatever it is, like most of the mistakes you could make are, something we can come back from. It's rare where it's something that there's no going back on this thing. So, and that was really helpful for me in liberating and empowered me to be able to make some decisions that I think were able to, help move the business forward. So that's awesome. Well, Sara, this has been wonderful. Thanks for taking the time. If people want to talk to you more, where can they find you?
Yep, they can find me at sarah.carter@twobrainbusiness.com. You can look me up at CrossFit PortSide. I'm available, willing to answer any questions, and happy to help any way that I can.
Awesome. Thanks, Sara.
Absolutely. Thanks.